Hey everyone, how's it going? It's been a while, but I'm back with a new build video for my melee Stamblade. This is a very high damage, high survivability build focusing on burst damage, tankiness and mobility. The build works in BG, Sordel, IC, dueling, you name it, both CP and no CP. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the gear. 5 pieces of Calurian, the most important part of this build when it comes to burst damage. There is no other set providing even close to the same amount of burst. The set got changed in the latest update and now features hybrid stats, making it very viable for a stamina Nightblade as well. The proc condition also got changed to critical light and heavy attacks only, which makes the set significantly harder to proc, unless you're a Nightblade and guarantee a crit on the light or heavy attack with your cloak. The other 5-piece set we run is Stygian. This set provides excellent 2 to 4-piece bonuses, as well as the best 5-piece stat bonus, with a consistent uptime when it comes to boosting your base damage. We run this set to buff all our ability and proc damage. The set is slightly bugged right now and has to be run on both bars, otherwise the effect disappears upon bar swap. As a mythic item we run the new Marking Ring. This provides us with 200 weapon damage and 2314 armor, which is roughly the equivalent of a good 5-piece set bonus. This comes without any downsides. On the back bar we run Vatesan 2-hander, which still provides a good amount of burst and more importantly weapon damage. All you have to do is run a skill you'd run anyway. To tie this build together we have a trainee heavy chest piece. This min-maxes the armor on our build and provides us with a lot of extra health, something that we'll need a lot of to survive the burst from builds like this one. The traits should be impenetrable on all armor pieces, non-honed and sharpened on the dual belt bar, defending on the back bar, and on jewelry the traits should be swift. The ensign should be triglyphs on armor, weapon damage on jewelry, fire and poison glyphs on the dual belt bar, for the added dot pressure and weapon damage on the back bar. As foot we are using Ortrogas to get the necessary amount of recoveries, and as Mundus we are using Steed to get more mobility. We are stage 3 vampire on this build for undeath passive and additional weapon damage when coming out of cloak, so the health regen value from Steed is diminished a lot, as we lose health regen from vampirism. That said, the extra mobility still provides us with sustain as we are able to reach targets or escape with less cloaks and dorsals required. And it provides us with more kills as we are able to stick to targets better. As potions we are using the Tri-stat potions. My character is an Imperial, but playing in other ways with stamina attributes is also fine. Just make sure you have around 33k health at least with your attribute allocation, which for Imperial stands at 30 points into health, 34 into stamina. If you were to play an Orc for instance, you'd go just 38 points into health instead and rest into stamina and so on. On Nord you can make do with a bit less health though thanks to the additional armor, so keep that in mind. Alright, moving on to skills. On the front bar we have Relentless Focus. This not only gives us a strong burst ability, but also passively gives us up to 300 extra weapon damage. When using Relentless Focus you'll want to avoid common mistakes such as being predictable with it. Try to land it straight from cloak with a heavy attack weave for instance, or after an off-balance heavy attack stun which almost guarantees it'll land. There are some other situations where you'll want to throw it out just for additional pressure, such as when a Sork streaks away from you or when you're just otherwise out of range and might be able to get a kill with it. The second skill on our bar is Camouflage Hunter. This provides us with minor berserk for additional damage as well as major savagery, both very important buffs. It also gives us a very good way of revealing other Nightblades without spending a lot of stamina on spin to wins. Sari Disguise, our main defensive ability, though we also use it to engage and land burst. It works very well when combined with the mobility we have on our build. Whirling Blades, our execute and the only source of undodgeable damage we have. This is how you secure kills on your Stamblade without getting hard countered by dodge roll. It can also be used to reveal cloaked targets, though against high health targets using Camo Hunter is typically more efficient. Surprise Attack, our main spammable as well as CC. The most basic combo with this build would be opening from cloak with a heavy attack into a surprise attack stun. We want to make sure that you're behind the target when this happens, otherwise surprise attack doesn't stun. Then this opener makes it extremely likely Calurian will land, which enables you to spin to win afterwards to get kills, as targets will be in the execute range if everything lands. Incap, our offensive ultimate, we use this for bursting through tankier targets, or just to save stamina in some situations. A high damage burst combo with this build, for example, would be landing a heavy attack into Incap from cloak, as there's some delay before you actually become visible after that heavy attack lands, and you can use those frames to land the Incap more reliably. If you have over 120 ultimate, you'll get a stun with this opener, which will guarantee that Galurian will land with the 20% damage buff to it. If you don't have 120 ultimate, you can go heavy attack in-cap into surprise attack stun to CC your target at even lower health pool, but this combo is a lot easier to counter and deal with for your opponent. On the back bar we have Race Against Time. Our snare and root removal also provides 10% more crit damage to all our abilities and procs. It also provides us with access to Major Expedition, which we don't have otherwise on our build. This buff can be cast while cloaked, which greatly improves our mobility while invisible. Vigor, our main heal we use to stay alive. Make sure to keep it up as much as possible. Using it before engaging, for example, is often a good idea if you can expect a lot of incoming damage. Mirage provides us with a lot of additional tankiness from the minor resolve and major evasion, which allows us to stay in fights rather than having to completely disengage or get bursted down. Rally, our main burst heal and source of major brutality, also provides us with minor endurance for additional stamina sustain and additional burst and weapon damage thanks to Watersun two-hander. The fifth skill we have on the back bar is Legion Strikes. We use this for additional sustain as well as for stacking up the Watersun two-hander, as the skill is very cheap and pretty much free to cast. As a defensive ultimate, on the back bar we have Temporal Guard, which gets us out of a lot of bad situations just like Shadow Mage. On top of this, it passively provides us with minor protection, which provides some additional tankiness while healing up on the back bar. The champion points are as follows: Green CPs, Steed's Blessing, combat drop sometimes while cloaked or when not being attacked, so this can provide us with additional mobility during those times. Sustaining Shadows, sometimes you'll want to sneak, especially with Vampirism as there's no mobility penalty. Reducing the stamina cost of that can be beneficial in PvP. Gifted Rider and War Mount, kinda niche, but these can be marginally useful while in Sordil, or BG maps where mounting is enabled. Rest of the green CPs provide no potential PvP advantage, so we will not discuss them. Blue CPs, Deadly Aim. Most of our damage apart from the execute is single target, so buffing it by 10% provides a lot of additional burst. Fighting Finesse, we get a lot of crits as Stamblade, so additional crit damage boosts the maximum burst by a lot. This also affects our critical healing, so it has some defensive value too. Backstabbers, same concept as Fighting Finesse. We are usually flanking targets as a Stamblade, so this passive gets a lot of value. Master at Arms. Almost all of our damage is direct damage, so this is a flat 10% boost to damage and probably the most important passive to pick. Red CPs. Juggernaut provides a flat 5% damage reduction most of the time, which makes us harder to pressure down. Pain's Refuge. Same concept as Juggernaut. Where this passive shines is when you're outnumbered, which is when you most need the additional mitigation. Survival Instincts, reducing the cost of dodge roll, CC break, blocking and bashing. This provides us with a lot more stamina sustain, as there is almost always a status effect on us in PvP. Celerity provides us with more mobility, which improves the survivability and the ability to stick to targets with this build. If you followed the build video so far, this is roughly what your stats should look like. And that's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you'll find this build video useful. If you have any questions or feedback, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.